accept the fact that the city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions. Ladies, it's Old Testament in there. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire, brimstone, up in the sky, rivers and seas, more than 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the atrocities of the great human sacrifice, dog and cat living together, cafeteria.
If anyone doubts the contemporary musical theater can flex its muscles and yank an audience right out of its seats, they need to look no further than Act 1 finale of Les Miserables. At that point in the gripping pop opera at the Broadway, the strands of narrative code from Victor Hugo's novel of early 19th century France intertwine in a huge, unadulterating tapestry. The unjustly hounded fugitive Jean Valjean is once more packing his bags for exile on the never-ending road to Calvary. Even as his internal pursuer, the police inspector Javert, plots new malevolent schemes, the young lovers Marius and Cosette are exchanging tearful farewells, while Marius, the unadmirer of Marius, Eponine, mourns her own abandonment. And everywhere in Paris of 1832 is the whisper of insurrection as revolutionary students prepare to mount the barricade. Where Les Mis, unfolding as a novel or in one of its many film adaptations, these events would be relayed sequentially or through literary or cinematic cross-cutting. But in the musical theater, at its most resourceful, every action can occur on stage at once, such as the thunderous coup that brings down the Act 1 curtain. The opera-minded composer Claude Michael Schoenberg, having earlier handed each character a gorgeous theme, now brings them all together at an accelerating burst of a counterpoint titled One Day More. One day more. Most crucially, the directors Trevor Nunn and John Card choreographed the paces of their players on a revolving stage. The relationships mirror both human relationships and the pressing march of history. The fusion of drama, music, character design, and movement is what links this English adaptation of a French show to the highest tradition of modern Broadway musical production. One can hardly watch the Act 1 finale without thinking of star-crossed lovers and rival gangs preparing for the rumble in similar fashions as tonight. Quintet of West Side Story. Or in Fiddler on the Roof, the dispersal of Tevia's Châtel. In Les Mis, we can see that Mr. Nunn and Mr. Card have welded an unashamed schmaltz and Jerome Robbins' staging techniques from those two American classics with the distinctive directorial style they've developed on their own at the Royal Shakespeare Company. With songs such as I Dreamed a Dream in Time Gone By and Life Worth Living. I dreamed that love would never die. I dreamed that God would be forgiving. It continues as the songs throughout the musical strike each of us one note at a time, one word at a time, asking the question, do you hear the people sing? Singing the song of angry men? It is the music of the people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Gifted singers, supporting cast members, some of them who came over from the West End. It's what made Les Mis not only a staple of musical theater, but quite possibly one of, if not the best, Broadway musical experience that has ever been created. Act 2, of course, many of the famous songs that you might know, On My Own being the first one. Bring Him Home being another. And Empty Chairs at Empty Tables. The musical, Les Miserables, connects with many people and has connected with people over the last several hundred years since the novel was created. Making people wonder, what is it about Les Miserables? Not just the story that Victor Hugo weaved throughout hundreds of pages, or the hundreds of pages of music that were written for what I would say is the best musical that was ever made. Do you hear the people sing? And are you equipped for one day more? The fight is never over. And as we see in history, it seems like the fight here at the homeland is just getting started. Today we celebrate Lord Blanket's Broadway Bonanza. And all we do is we just ask that you vote for Lord Blanket for the best afternoon radio show in Richmond, Virginia. Follow Lord Blanket on Twitter, X, whatever, at Lord Blanket. And make sure you use the hashtag Hail Lord Blanket. It is the 11th day of May in the year 2024. The clock says 1313. Setting the standard and raising the bar the only way a real media puppet knows how to do. Fellas, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to talk a few moments about Les Mis. And so let's get back to this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and this once-in-a-lifetime show of Lord Blanket's Broadway Bonanza. Highlighting, of course, the music in the Broadway musical Les Miserables. Broadcasting live from the beautiful campus at the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet and media. Reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Lord Blanket's Broadway Bonanza.